Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really powerful and brilliantly satirical short story by Gopal Sundar Gosai. We're calling this analysis the paradox of the empty certificate, mainly because it tackles a very uncomfortable question about modern schooling. Right from the jump, Gosai sets this lately mocking yet deeply concerned tone. He basically invites us into a world that looks absolutely perfect on the surface, but is hiding a massive systemic failure just underneath.
Think about this for a second. Does a 100% pass rate actually mean students are 100% educated? In our real world, we're totally conditioned to equate high exam scores with high intelligence, or, at the very least, excellent teaching. We celebrate those perfect statistics. But what if the metrics we use to measure success are just entirely broken? Gosai's story really forces us to challenge our immediate perception of examination success, specifically looking at the Secondary Education Examination, or SEE.
Act 1. The Village's Educational Drama. So Gosai introduces us to this village that seems to have completely mastered the art of schooling. They've got all the right ingredients, all the right people, all the right statistics. But as we dig into the text, we discover that this seemingly perfect school system is, well, it's completely fabricated.
On the outside, the physical facade of this village school is absolutely flawless. Gosai describes these massive school buildings, wide open fields, and full attendance every day. It looks exactly like a thriving hub of learning should look. But the author quickly pulls back the curtain to reveal a pretty stark contrast. While that physical infrastructure is very real, the actual learning environment happening inside those walls is a complete illusion.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this is where the satire really bites. Every single stakeholder in this village is just playing a part in a grand theatrical performance. Number one, the students. They're just acting like they learn, pretending to sit in class, pretending to listen, faking the homework. Number two, the teachers. I mean, they honestly show up to collect their attendance and their salary, but they're just acting like they teach. And number three, the parents. They act like they care about their kids' futures, going through the motions of sending them to school and nodding along at parent meetings. The whole thing is entirely a performance.
Act 2. The Secret of 100% Results. Now, you might reasonably think that a school full of actors who aren't actually doing any real work would just fail miserably when exam season rolls around, right? Well, in this village, the exact opposite happens, and it miraculously impacts the village school's official results. Boom, 100%. Every single student passes. It just completely highlights the utter absurdity of the situation. You're probably wondering, how is this even possible? Well, Gosai explains that the exams are completely nominal. They exist in name only. Whether a student genuinely studies or just entirely ignores the material, they pass. There is literally zero difference in the marks between those who study and those who don't. The whole system is rigged to guarantee universal success. And this guaranteed success creates a really tragic reality. On one hand, you have these marginalized, honest teachers and hardworking students. These are the educators truly dedicated to the students' futures. But in this hollow system, their diligence is rendered totally obsolete. They literally have no real role anymore. On the other hand, you have the superficial actors, the teachers who just pretend are completely comfortable and stress-free, the students have zero exam anxiety, and the parents are totally relaxed. It's a peaceful environment, for sure, but it's built entirely on a lie.
Which brings us to Act 3, the declining value of education. When you remove the stakes, the effort, and the truth from learning, the core value of genuine education just deteriorates daily. It's not only that the kids aren't learning, it's that the very definition of what school is starts to change for the worse.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Gosai breaks down this step-by-step de-evolution of genuine education into this hollow administrative exercise. First, true teaching and learning simply stop. The actual transfer of knowledge dies out. Second, it's replaced by mindless writing and copying. Education devolves into just making students copy things down without an ounce of real comprehension. And finally, step 3, you make all exams nominal. Because when the exams demand nothing, the copying demands nothing.
Act 4. The 5-year prediction. Gosai doesn't just critique the present day. He takes this chronological extrapolation and projects this current educational failure into an absurdly satirical future, basically showing us exactly where this path inevitably leads. Let's move along and see how this builds. Today, we have a 100% nominal pass rate. Soon, Gosai predicts, the entire village population over the age of 14 will pass the SEE, making it a famous record-holding village nationwide. And then, 5 years later, a 70-year-old grandfather will take the exam, score an A+, and set a brand new national record. It's completely ridiculous, but that is exactly Gozai's point. It perfectly highlights the absolute absurdity of a system that prioritizes meaningless statistics over actual human development.
Act 5, the meaningless certificate. This is really the emotional climax of the story. The nation might proudly praise this village for its unprecedented records and achievements. Everyone will, take the village's name with pride. But the ultimate reality for the people living there, the ones holding these guaranteed certificates, is incredibly empty.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core tragedy we're talking about here. Gosai writes, even with the CE certificate, there will be no corresponding educational capability. A physical piece of paper, I don't care how many official stamps it has or what grade is printed on it, absolutely does not equate to actual real-world skills or knowledge. The certificate itself is effectively blank.
The village's success is just a tragic irony. The certificate holders themselves remain deeply miserable because deep down they know they lack real capability. Meanwhile, the honest teachers face this agonizing dilemma when they're invited to congratulatory events. And when they do attend, and they receive the celebratory garlands and tikas of blessing, they literally don't know whether to laugh or cry at the sheer hypocrisy of the whole shebang.
Act 6, the final provocation. Gosai concludes his short story not with some neat, happy resolution, but by bringing the focus squarely back to the reader, to us, and the very real reality of the country's education system today.
So when will change happen? That is the exact final question from the source text. We've seen the perfect facade, the theatrical acting, the completely meaningless 100% results, and the devastating emotional toll of a hollow certificate. The story leaves us with this urgent plea to reflect. If we don't want to end up in a world where we celebrate a 70-year-old getting a meaningless A+ while genuine learning literally dies, we have to recognize the illusion and demand true educational reform. Think about this question today and ask yourself what real education should actually look like. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. See you next time.